Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Emma Lefebvre, and today we're going to be painting a really cute snowman. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, today we are going to be painting a really cute snowman for our card tutorial. And instead of doing a front-facing version where you see the body and the head and the three circles, we're going to be doing a top-down version. Now I've seen a few artists do versions of this and I think they're really cute, so I thought that would be a really fun exercise and painting for us to do today. So to start, I have my cold pressed watercolor paper from Meeden that's cut out into a size 4x6. I have my Meliong palette with my watercolors. I have a size 8 round brush that I'm going to be using today, and water paper towel, as well as a kneaded eraser and my pencil. So we're going to start out by drawing the circles. Now, if you want to grab something circular to use to trace, you can do that. You can do it freehand. I have this little template here with a bunch of different circles that I'm going to use, and I don't want to pick the biggest one. I feel like that's pretty good. So I'm going to use this size where it's not going right to the edge because we do want to paint some snow around it. And I'm just going to really lightly, very lightly, because I don't want to see the pencil marks underneath the watercolor, trace a circle. And then I'm going to grab a smaller circle, probably the smallest one on the sheet, and I'm going to put it right in the center for the head. So you can do this freehand, and you don't actually want it to be a perfect circle by any means, because snow is lumpy and bumpy and snowmen aren't perfect. But you're going to want a big circle on the outside and a smaller circle on the inside. And then you're just going to want to lighten it up even more just so you don't see that pencil mark, because we're going to be working with light washes of watercolor. Okay, so obviously a snowman is a white object, and when we are painting white objects with watercolor, we don't tend to use white paint. We like to paint the shadows around them. So for this, I'm going to be using indigo, which is a nice dark color, and I'm just going to water it down quite a bit. So I'm just adding a bunch of water to it because I don't want it to actually be that dark. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around my circle with this light wash, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So if it's like a little bit over the lines, a little bit lumpy and bumpy, like I said, that's totally okay. And you want it to be quite watery so you can blend it out. If it's not watery enough, it's going to dry really quickly and give you this harsh line. But we want to give this kind of like natural kind of shadow look around that circle. Okay, so I'm just kind of moving the water so it's not just like a rigid circle, okay? Like that. Then you're going to pick a side where you want your shadow to be on, and you're going to add a little bit more of your color to that one side. So you don't want it so dark, like that's even a little dark, but you want to pick one side that has a bit more shadow than the other. And you're just going to drop it in, a little bit of wet on wet action there. Okay, maybe a little bit more, why not? And maybe if there's like sunlight shining, I'm just going to wash and dry off my brush and just kind of extend this snow a little bit. Maybe if there's a little bit of sunlight hitting the other side, you could always take like a little bit of like yellow or a pink, just a really, really, really light wash, and just kind of hit the other side with a little bit of light in the snow like that, just so it looks like there's some sun hitting it, just like the tiniest bit, but you don't have to do that. Okay. Now that we're done that part, just gonna want to extend the shadow a bit. There we go. We're going to do the same thing around the other circle. So again, a really light wash, and make sure your shadow is on the same side. So very, very light wash. I just keep adding water. I don't want to cover all of the white circle. I am going to add water to this side just so we can blend it out a bit. Then I'm going to add my indigo. Same side as this shadow. Okay. Gonna have some lumps and bumps in there too, just like little bits of darker parts of the snow, so it doesn't look like he's, you know, super round. A little bit darker, like that. Okay. Might add a little bit more darkness over here too, while it's still wet, just because it adds a bit more depth. And then a little bit of that light color. Again, you don't have to do this part, but just like a little bit. Need a little bit of yellow in there too. And you really want the lightest wash possible. If you think it's too light, it's probably not light enough. That's what I've learned. Okay. Just so it looks like there's some sunlight hitting it on that side. Okay. Then you're going to do a little bit to the face as well. So I'm just going to kind of color in the face here with just some water, not a lot. And I'm not touching the edge where the shadow is on the other side because I want that shadow to be pretty distinct there, but I'm just adding a little bit of shadow to this side. Okay. Again, not touching the shadow there. Okay, and then we're going to let it all completely dry. Okay, now that it's dry, one thing I also want to do is I have this really beautiful, bright, kind of white, shimmery silver color, and it's more white than silver, but just to the sunlit side, I just want to add some shimmery watercolor. You don't have to do this. If you don't have that, that's okay. But just for when it dries, I like a little bit of shimmer, and I'm adding it to the sunlit part. Okay, this watercolor was in my advent calendar with Craftimo, but I really love it because it's very transparent. It's just like sparkle. It doesn't look like a gray silver, but it's really pretty. Okay, and then we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna do all the detail. Okay, so now we're gonna do the face and the hat. So this is a top-down version of a snowman. So it's gonna look like he's looking up at the sky, you know, trying to catch snowflakes or something. So in the middle, actually, let's do the hat first. So figure out where you want your face pointing. Actually, maybe I'll do it pointing down this way. So I'm gonna have the hat kind of coming across, not the middle of the face, but just like a third of the way. And then I'm gonna do a little kind of brim here. He's gonna have kind of like a toque or a beanie, as they call it in the US. We call it a toque in Canada. Okay. And then a little pom-pom on the outside. Again, I'm doing it very, very light because I want to be able to erase it and not see the pencil marks underneath. Then I'm going to do two little eyes like this, where his eyes are closed. Just little semicircles. We're going to do a carrot nose. And then we're also going to do a scarf. So I'm just going to do an extra little U shape kind of around this, and then just a short little edge like that. Okay, now I'm just going to lighten up some of these pencil marks so we don't see it underneath, and pick the color that you want for your hat. I feel like I want like a nice red or something. That's a little orangey. There we go. That's a nice dark red. And I'm going to actually start with a light wash. It's kind of pink, isn't it? I don't know the colors in my palette. Okay, I'm going to start with a lighter wash, so not super, super dark. Over this part. And over the top. And like a little pom-pom, so I'm going to just do like a little kind of fluffy edge to it, and then fill it in. Like that. I'm going to grab more color of my red, so it's a little darker, and I'm going to add it to the shadow side. So make sure it's on the same size as your shadows. Drop it in the pom-pom. Like that. This is really going to create a lot of depth. I'm going to add just like a little bit. I had a dark red there. I mixed a little bit of my red with green to make a darker color. Got to remember what colors where. A little bit of green. A little bit of red, and it just makes a really nice shadow color. So just tapping it to that one side. Like so. Okay. You can see it coming to life now. I know you can. Okay, then I'm going to grab the same red. You can use whatever color you like for the scarf and stuff. You don't have to do the same red. I'm just not very imaginative right now. Imaginative. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. And I'm just going to do this U shape and then like that. And then again, I'm going to grab a bit more red. Have some brighter areas in there. And then my dark red. So just a little bit of green with your red will create a really nice shadow. And look at the depth in that, right? I'm going to do little tassels on the bottom, the dark, and it's going to move to light because it's in the sunlight, like that. Cute. If you want, without touching the scarf, you can always add a little bit of shadow to the side of the scarf. Just a little bit. Okay, then we're going to do the nose. So I want a light orange to start. Really, the shading is what makes this painting. So a light orange. I'm going to grab a darker orange, maybe a little bit of that dark red. Hit that one side of the nose. Like that. And then some black for the eyes. So cute. You could always add a little bit of extra darkness with the black if you want. So cute. I don't know. Should we do a mouth? Like it's underneath? Yeah. A little tiny bit of darkness on the side, like that. And then we can't forget our arms. So we're going to grab some brown. And he's going to have little arms. Like this. Very jagged. Little stick arms. Like that. So cute. I think he's adorable. I don't know if I want to add like a little bit of shadow underneath. Like that, and maybe some footsteps in the snow. Like some kids were building him. Just some loose shapes. Almost like little ovals. With the navy blue, the indigo. And there we go. And there is our cute little snowman. So you can write like, let it snow at the top. If you wanted to do, take a little bit of some opaque white paint for a bit of snowfall, you can do that. Take your brush, do a little flick. And there you go. There is your snowman card. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. I will see you guys tomorrow for our next tutorial. Bye everyone.